In this video, I'm diving into the journey required to go from family scapegoat to empowered super empath. Let's do it. Hey friends, Tamie M, Joyce here, empowerment life coach, creator of the Freedom class and the Ascension class. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comments section below. And if you're back, well, of course, welcome back. Thanks for showing up and for tuning in. Either way, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. I think it goes without saying that the dynamics within a family can have a profound impact on an individual's sense of self, their identity, their self-worth, and overall emotional well-being. And for those of us who've experienced being cast in the role of the family scapegoat in a toxic and dysfunctional family system, that profound impact is a negative and painful one, to say the least. And the truth is, the journey towards healing and transformation can be an arduous one, excruciatingly painful, as well as empowering and enlightening, if you're willing to go the distance. Now, with that said, let's unpack the transformational journey required to go from being cast as the family scapegoat to becoming a fully embodied and empowered super empath. I'm going to begin by delving into the characteristics of the scapegoat, the struggles they face, and the steps they can take to heal and reclaim their power permanently. Let's start with understanding the family scapegoat. Now, the family scapegoat is typically an individual who bears the brunt of the family's dysfunction and conflicts. From a young age, they're unfairly singled out, blamed, and shamed for the family's problems, acting as a lightning rod for negative emotions and constant tension. Meaning they're the one person in the family who attracts and absorbs intense negative and hostile feelings and opinions, thereby diverting that hostility and those feelings and opinions from everyone else in the family dynamic. So the family scapegoat serves as a literal dumping ground for the criticism and hostility that should have been aimed elsewhere, in the direction of more appropriate people and places. Like, for example, the people who are actually responsible for all the chaos and dysfunction going on in the family to begin with. Not the child, teen, or young adult they're choosing to deflect and project the family's toxicity and dysfunction onto. And the role of family scapegoat can be assigned for any number of reasons, not least of which being the need for a convenient outlet for misplaced anger, blame, shame, and even jealousy. The role can also be assigned due to the scapegoat's unwillingness to conform to the unhealthy family dynamics. In other words, the ways in which the scapegoat may push back or refuses to fall into line, so to speak. Now, over time, the family scapegoat internalizes the negative labels and beliefs projected onto them, which inevitably leads to some form of rebellion and self-destructive behavior, which of course only gives the dysfunctional family more ammunition to target the scapegoat with. It's like the epitome of a vicious cycle. Naturally, the scapegoat carries feelings of unworthiness, guilt, and shame, and therefore struggles with mountains of self-doubt and limiting beliefs. What's interesting is, more often than not, scapegoats have a high level of empathy. They tend to be the most highly empathic, and although vulnerable to the abuse, they tend to be the strongest in the tribe. The one who carries the most light, genuine love, care, compassion, and concern, which only makes them more of a target in a sick family system, of course. They experience a high level of sensitivity to others' needs, yet they're subjected to all manner of cruelty, contempt, and disdain. In other words, emotional and psychological abuse. Now, to be clear, the individual cast in the role of the family scapegoat is often blamed for family issues that have little or nothing to do with the scapegoat. Nevertheless, they serve as the emotional punching bag in this regard in their toxic family system. As long as the scapegoat is there to bear the burden of their abusive family members' projections, these members of the family don't have to look too closely at themselves and their own toxic attitudes and abusive ways of behaving, their own unresolved wounding and trauma. Works for them, but not so well for the scapegoated one. Being the family scapegoat comes at a very high price and takes a heavy emotional toll. The very real effects of this kind of abuse are constant emotional turmoil, self-doubt, and high levels of anxiety. a loss of self or personal identity, struggles in relationships, and struggles with low self-worth. In addition, as a result of bearing the brunt of all of this pain and toxicity, the scapegoat grows up feeling rejected, fully unwanted, unloved, and completely and utterly misunderstood. The constant barrage of criticism and blame not only leads to a diminished sense of self-esteem, but also a distorted self-image. In addition, the scapegoat may grapple with feelings of isolation, as they're often alienated from other family members, not least of which because they may not want to draw more negative attention to themselves. And naturally, this isolation only intensifies feelings of loneliness and despair. Furthermore, the emotional wounds inflicted during childhood can extend into adulthood, affecting personal relationships, professional success, financial stability, and overall well-being. Clearly, narcissistic abuse is at play here. Let's face it, you have to be pretty empathy impaired, not to mention unconscious, to single out and target a child, teen, or young adult, to go after one member of the family and target them in this fashion. The groupthink or mob mentality has to be below the veil of consciousness for there to be such an agreement, unspoken as that agreement may be, that says that it's okay to criticize, blame, shame, hurt, harm, ignore, marginalize, abandon, neglect, and in many cases crucify one member of the family for the sick comfort and appeasement of other sick and deeply unconscious members of the family. This requires not only that the perpetrators as well as their enablers be lacking in empathy and conscience to some degree, if not a large degree, but also that they be operating from a delusional sense of entitlement and false sense of superiority, as well as a completely distorted and perverted sense of morality. Now comment below and let me know whether or not you can relate to any of this. Let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in one of my coaching programs, there's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. So let's talk about breaking the chains of the scapegoat status and evolving into an empowered super empath. The reality is, the journey to healing from a lifetime of playing such a role in your toxic family dynamic is not linear. It requires a deep and long-standing commitment to recovery, self-discovery, and growth on many levels: emotional, psychological, and spiritual. A good place to begin is by embracing self-compassion. Know that you did not deserve to be treated the way you've been treated by your family of origin. Quite the contrary, actually. It was actually their responsibility and duty to not only keep you safe, but to love, validate, and emotionally support as well as protect you. So know that they dropped the ball, not you, imperfect as you may be. Realize that you absolutely deserve to be treated with love and respect, consistently, reliably, and predictably. Furthermore, it's important to realize that the family's dysfunction is not your fault. That toxicity and dysfunction was there long before you arrived on the scene. And if and when you ever break free, it will be going on long after you leave, I assure you. They'll just have to find another scapegoat to maintain the status quo while they continue to smear and target you from a distance. Let them. Your responsibility is to yourself, you and only you. I can tell you in my own experience, the more I stayed away from my family of origin, the better I did. The more I went back, the worse I got. Eventually, I started to recognize a pattern. Long story short, I have been no contact for well over a decade now, and my life has only improved year after year, and in some pretty miraculous ways at that. You cannot become the you came to the planet to be, living your best life as your best self, if you continue to engage with harmful people who believe it's okay to hurt you, people who gaslight you, people who lie to and about you, people who fundamentally couldn't give a flying bleep about your well-being, no matter how much they may pretend otherwise. Now, do you have to go no contact entirely? Cut, cauterize, and amputate people you love who likely do not have the ability to love you back? Not necessarily. But low contact and low doses, at the very least, is going to be necessary for you to be able to make any progress at all in your healing and recovery. As they say, you cannot get well in the same environment where you got sick. And on that note, know that committing to a healing and recovery journey for yourself is vital. And that begins with finding a healthy support system, a small circle consisting of safe, honest, and empathic people who actually have your back. This is critical as you begin your healing and recovery journey. Whatever it takes, find a way to surround yourself with supportive and understanding people. Building a support network will be fundamental to your ability to get through the dark times as you heal the old wounds and recalibrate to a new reality and a new you. And know in advance that healing from this kind of abuse doesn't happen by accident. Time alone will do nothing to resolve the trauma you carry. So commit to giving yourself the gift and learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do so you can be free of the pain, confusion, and anxiety brought on by people who not only felt entitled to hurt you, but then blamed you for the hurt they caused. Come on now, you deserve better. The reality is, there are a lot of things you can do to support yourself in your healing and recovery from having been cast as the family scapegoat. The benefits of therapy and or working with the right coach and going through the right program can change things for you and fast. In doing so, you'll learn important skills like how to calm your nervous system, how to set healthy limits and boundaries with confidence without guilt and discomfort, learning how to say no when necessary and without all the anxiety, learning to distance yourself from harmful people without all the fear, guilt, and shame. You'll learn practical ways to start practicing self-love daily, how to incorporate self-care into your daily routine, how to prioritize your well-being, how to heal your wounded inner child. You'll also learn where and when it's appropriate to forgive and how to go about that in a safe, self-loving, self-respecting, and boundaried way. The bottom line is, your healing journey begins with telling yourself, and where appropriate, safe others, the truth about what you've lived. Oftentimes, the scapegoat is steeped in denial as a means of surviving the family system that they're in, and as a result, remain stuck because they're settling for the scraps of so-called love and belonging that their family throws their way for no other reason than to keep them in the game. Oh, and to make themselves look good, because they're such nice people. Real healing begins with breaking out of denial and standing in the truth. And that's a process, and one you'll need a lot of support as you go through the inevitable waves of grief that you're going to go through. Grieving the losses of what was and what never was, what will never be. Ultimately, it's about accepting your past for what it was, learning to forgive yourself for allowing yourself to be so mistreated for as long as you did, and eventually forgiving those who hurt you. But when you're ready, not a moment sooner. All too often, we want to rush to the good feeling place of forgiveness prematurely and end up slipping into codependent amnesia where our abusers are concerned, which only sets us up for further abuse. So let's worry about forgiving them later. First, let's honor you and that wounded inner child inside of you and all that he or she has lived. Let's heal you. Let's empower you. Let's tell ourselves, and again, where appropriate, save others the truth of what we've lived so that we can fully process our pain and heal from the trauma of it all. When we do that, real lasting forgiveness happens, and quite organically, as we become stronger and more peaceful as a result of actually doing our work. So let's not put the forgiveness cart before the horse and set ourselves up for more of the same. Again, you deserve better. If you do your work, I promise you, you will forgive in a way that not only brings you deep peace, but also allows you to maintain your dignity, integrity, and sense of self-respect. We do that for us, not them. Now, one of the major benefits of actually standing still in the truth of what we've lived long enough to feel it so we can heal it is that we develop something called super empathy. We become badass in the best possible way. Fully empowered super empaths who are grounded in love and compassion, as well as strength and courage. A kind of strength and courage that most people cannot even fathom, let alone embody. And if you want to learn more about what it means to be this kind of empowered super empath, you can watch this video here and this video here. The bottom line is, when we do our work, we learn to harness our empathic abilities. We become confident and clear. We become more able to discern with crystal clear clarity. And as a result, we navigate our path on this planet with much more ease, grace, joy, self-worth, and self-love. We also become far more magnetic and attractive to abundance in all areas of our life. So it's time now to stop sacrificing yourself and your life to people who could care less about your comfort or your well-being for that matter, and instead learn how to channel your empathy for good. Become the force for good you came here to be. Remember, there is strength in your sensitivity. Your sensitivity is a superpower. Balancing your giving nature with self-preservation and understanding the power of a clear and honest no may not make you popular with toxic people, but it is vital to living a happy, healthy, peaceful, and productive life. Honing your intuition, embracing your gut feelings, and learning to trust yourself and your inner wisdom implicitly are also some of the effects of taking the journey from family scapegoat to empowered super empath. So thriving as a super empath begins with deep healing, but it's about more than that. It's about reclaiming your power fully and completely. It's about understanding that you are not defined by your past. It's about using your experiences to empower others. Cultivating resilience, learning from your challenges, mistakes, shortcomings, and transgressions, and bouncing back stronger and better than ever. Sharing your wisdom and empathy and becoming a beacon of hope for those still stuck in the dark. Remember that your past does not define you. You have the strength to rise above your family scapegoat role and become an empowered super empath. Keep believing in yourself, keep loving yourself, and keep shining as the empowered super empath that you know you came here to be. It's time now. And on that note, I'm going to call it a wrap. But before I go, I have a special announcement to make. You might be interested to know that the Ascension class is open for enrollment, and I'm so beyond excited to bring you this next level of growth, expansion, and evolution that is this transformational coaching program. If you want to go deep with me into the work of reinventing yourself after narcissistic abuse, then this is for you. Be sure to click on the link in the description below this video to apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team.